influx of people who are quitting their jobs because they realize that they no longer want to work. And I love that for us. I'm a part of that. I quit my job because I don't want to work anymore. But then there were people who were like, yeah, quit your job and then start your own business. And I'm like, baby, you're not getting it. I don't want to work. I don't want to work, period. I don't want to work for you. I don't want to work for me. I don't want to work for anyone. Like, working, it's working is the issue. It's not who you work for. It's working. Why do we work? Why do we need money? Money is such a middleman. You just use money to get stuff. Why can't we just get the stuff? I don't want to have a business because I don't want to charge people for anything. Because to me, that like defeats the purpose of trying to get away from the capitalist thing. I don't want to charge people who don't already have money. That doesn't make any sense to me. Why would I do that? It's almost evil. I get it. Follow. If you want to start a business and that's your dream, do that. It's just not mine. So please don't try to make it.
So this person might not feel like a girl or a boy. So their pronouns would be them and they, right? And so when we're talking about them, we could say they really like mac and cheese. Or spaghetti. Or we could say, I really like them. Well, what if this person didn't feel like a he? What if that person felt like a she? Yeah. Then we would use what pronouns?
Girl.
You would use pronouns that make you feel like a girl? And what are those pronouns? Do you remember?
She.
And?
Her.
That's right.
Do it have hat on?
Yes, they do have a hat.
Jesse, I think my dog is homophobic. What do I do? So this got me interested and I had to do my background research. And it turns out that no, dogs can't. They can't be homophobic because they can't tell if someone is gay. Basically, the only way to tell if someone is gay through just looking at them is, well, one, we call it gaydar. But actually, if you want to get into the science of it, those who are gay do actually tend to hold their face in a different way than those who are heterosexual. After doing my own background research on this, it seems that dogs cannot be trained to differentiate people from being homosexual and heterosexual. Although you can as a person, dogs cannot do this. Now, can dogs be a little bit racist? Yes, after dogs were studied in a racialized area of Kenya and Zambia. So dogs can be racist. Hope this helps.
You know, it's the darndest thing. I log on to this clock app, I talk about my experience being non-binary, and then I get a bunch of people in my comments who are like, no, you're not non-binary, you're either a girl or a boy. Pick one. So which one are you? And it's like, huh. So you can't manage to sort me into one of those two categories. So it's almost like there are people who do not easily fall into one of those two categories. If only there was a word for people who do not fit inside of the gender binary, who are not in the binary. Not binary? That just doesn't flow off the tongue. What is it?
Oh, actually, I'm gender fluid. Oh, okay. Wait, what does gender fluid mean again? Gender fluid means my gender changes depending on the day or week, or even depending on the hour. It also means the pronouns I'm comfortable with can change too. Oh, so how do I know what pronouns to use for you and other gender fluid people? We all express them differently, but personally I express them through color-coded bracelets. Pink means she, her, yellow means they, them, and blue means he, him. And if I'm comfortable with more than one pronoun, I will combine them. Oh, okay, so today's she, they day? You got it. Okay, I'll keep that in mind.
In honor of the anniversary of George Floyd's death, let's have a hot take on education. Let's talk about the fact that the education system in this country is just as corrupt as the policing system. Let's talk about how schools marginalize African American students by giving them fewer chances and harsher punishments whenever they make a mistake in school. Also, let's talk about the school to prison pipeline and how the school to prison pipeline overwhelmingly targets African American and Hispanic students. And most importantly, let's talk about the fact that the only reason we don't talk about the education system in the exact same way that we talk about the police system is because there's no bystanders in the schools. In schools, there is no way to take a 9-minute and 30-second video that shows how corrupt our education system is and how badly it is harming our Black and brown students.
If you're seeing this, you've reached Classical Music is Racist TikTok. The fact that classical music, which is really the music of 18th century Western European cis straight white male composers, is valued as the highest form of art music in America is an example of white supremacy. Those who go to college to study music will spend countless hours studying music theory, Western music history, and more, and most schools only have one class requirement or no class requirements for world music. This means that educators are woefully unprepared to meet the standards of understanding global interdisciplinary and 21st century connections with music. Task forces like this one are arguing that the music major needs to be changed to be more all-encompassing and actively anti-racist. But in the meantime, those who are music educators have to struggle and wrestle with the question, how can I be actively anti-racist in teaching music in a system that values white supremacy? Follow me to find out.
You love me?
I love my mommy.
Oh, baby.
You love me?
Yes.
What are you?
Whoa, chill out! What are you doing?
Inspirations to shreds. Another cog in the murder machine. They said I'm saying to scare the living shit out of me.
Yeah, they done let the GDs in the dough. Hey, they done let the GDs in the dough. GDs, they done let the GDs in the dough. Ay, ooh, they done let the GDs in the dough. What I say? Hey, Trump should've freed Larry. Fuck is wrong with dude? Oh, you say you GDK? Fuck is wrong with you?
The gender binary is a racist cultural construction created by white scientists in the 19th century as a means of showing the supposed superiority of Western civilization at being the only culture able to uphold sexual dichotomy. During the era of European colonialism, Europeans noticed that cultures around the world had sexual and gender diversity as an integrated part of society. 19th century race scientists saw sexual ambiguity as a sign of primitivity and believed that the binary distinction between the sexes gets more pronounced as a culture becomes more civilized. This racist interpretation of evolutionary theory was used as a means to solidify the binary gender and sex systems within Europe and European colonies by defining and enforcing strict gender roles.
Let's have a tuck talk. I'm a trans gal who hasn't had any surgeries, which means I have an outie, not an innie. So when I go out in public, I tuck. A lot of folks wonder if it's uncomfortable. It is. But to put it in perspective, untucking isn't the first thing I do when I get home at night. The first thing I do is take off one of these torture devices. It's worth noting that not all tucks are the same. Different outfits require different levels of tucking. The tiny tuck, the typical tuck, the tyrannical tuck.
But this feels racist.
Hi, I'm a professor. I study technology ethics. If you missed the issue here, it's that the Animoji looks like it's squinting when it mimics an Asian face. If this feels racist, it's probably because this isn't the first time that we've seen something kind of similar. Did someone blink? How does a camera know whether someone's blinking? Well, very simplistically, here's a bunch of photos of people blinking, and here's a bunch of photos of people not blinking. So if your photos of people not blinking includes a lot of white people, then she might look like she's blinking. Or, someone with very dark skin might look more like a gorilla than a person. Blame it on the training data, blame it on the user testing, blame it on the lack of diversity in the tech industry. Either way, it's a problem, unless you happen to look like me.